Hello and sincerely welcome to today's Speedadmin Academy webinar. With a little delay, we had a little fight with YouTube. I think that their AI machine have seen that we wrote something about AI and then they tried to stop us.
Maybe.
But now we are finally there. Thank you for your patience, everybody that's been hanging on and waiting for us to go live. We are now live and we will try our very best to live up to your expectations. Why do we do a webinar about AI? Well, I guess first of all, we've been to a lot of conferences the last year and always there's been an agenda about AI, and we see it also in news, magazines. Everybody's writing about AI, so of course we also want to do a little follow-up and have a little view on what is our perspectives on AI. At the first run, we actually talked about having an expert coming from outside and telling about how you should think about AI. But then we thought, well, why don't we give you our take, and also with our understanding from the music and art schools, our take on what will it mean for us as a company, but also what will it might mean for all of you out there. So that's why we have invited some guests from our own company this time, and we will be looking into all different perspectives, both internally from Speedadmin, but also something that will be relevant externally from your side. And first guest, Michael. I'm very honored to be able to present our CEO here in our first Academy webinar.
Thanks, Thomas. And I've really been looking forward to participate in this webinar. AI has been on the agenda for several years, and I'm pretty much excited about it. I'm excited about this digital journey that we all have been going through and still continuously going through. I have some past experience with machine learning, and now we're moving into the area of AI as well. So it's perfect. Thanks. I'm looking forward.
Great. And then, of course, we also have our, also called Mr. Magic Fingers, the tech himself.
Yeah, of course. From the technical perspective, AI has been talked about for decades, as you're saying, Michael, with machine learning. But now with AI and ChatGPT, it's on everybody's lips. So so looking forward to talking more about it.
Really nice to have you here, Carsten. Then we have Johan also visiting us.
Yes, thank you. It's very exciting being here, and as a former leader as well in the music and art schools, it's very nice to have this view of AI and what it can do for the music and art schools in the future. And I visited some conferences this spring, and for one we were in Oslo in Norway, and we had a seminar with Professor Morten Goodwin. That was very exciting, learning more about the ChatGPT functions, and really got to, in a workshop, try them out to see what it can do. So it's very exciting to see what's coming in that.
And not least hear some of the leaders and their teachers as well. Oh, you can do that, or I'm going to try this, and so on. So that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
And then finally, myself, I will take a little bit of the teacher's perspective. It has been a long time since I've been teaching a lot of students, but I still have one student. And then I talk to a lot of teachers and how they use AI, and I think it's quite inspiring. I had the pleasure of seeing at the Music Mark conference in UK back in November, Steve Copeland do a speech about AI, but not just AI, also about how it all links into digitalization and how that can lift us or support us in the development, both as teachers and all together when we work with different things. But let's jump into it. What we're going to say, what you can't expect today is that we will not be going through all kind of great apps and what's the newest and the best and so on, because first of all, there's so much happening all the time that it's going to be tomorrow. This webinar would be outdated then. And second, there are lots of people that know much more about that part than we do. So go online or ask ChatGPT what are the best app for me to use. But there are lots out there. But you say a company like ours, of course, is based on that whole digital journey that our whole society have been on for the last many years. Starting, of course, with early computing, and then to that we got personal computers, then we got social media, internet first, of course. COVID did a huge thing on the whole digital journey, getting people, forced them to do some things. Then perhaps you say the journey, if we see it as a stair, went down a little bit after COVID, but there's still, it just keeps going, and we don't know where it's going to end, if it's going to ever end. But I guess this is the foundation that we're standing on as a company. And here, Michael, you had a little perspective on where does AI fit into all of this?
No, I think it's more because it's kind of interesting, because every time you look at new technologies, I mean, they always go through some cycles. And Gartner is making this hype cycle, and they do it for different technologies and stuff. And here's the one for AI. And as you see, AI is not one single thing. It's a lot of different things, from machine learning to regenerative AI like the ChatGPT, and many new things coming up. And as you see on this curve, most of it is actually on this innovation trigger part of the slope here. And there's a tendency that every time there's a new technology, we always talk about it as is the new thing that will change everything. And of course it will change a lot, but it will go through a cycle, and at the end of the day, it will just become another tool in a toolbox. I'm sure it will be a tool that would do with a lot of power, which will really change a lot of things. But it is a tool. It's a tool in a digitization toolbox, and we have to make use of it the best way possible.
And from the technical perspective,
Yeah.
Carsten.
Well, I think that when we have been looking at how can we work with the ChatGPT or Copilot or many of the other large language models, how can we work with that? It's our experience until now that what works today doesn't work tomorrow, because it goes so fast. We can see that OpenAI, the ones that created ChatGPT, just released a new one again. And they need to keep up with that. If we made some kind of integration and made some automation in Speedadmin, based on that, it will work today, but tomorrow it won't work anymore, because it's moving so fast. Not saying that we won't do it. It's just a matter of we're not going in the next 1 year or something like that. We won't base something critical on AI, because it's moving so fast. We have to see it as an assistant. That's also Google also came out with their AI, and it's all about assisting people. So it's assisting us in the way of working. And from the technical part, we use it when we are writing code. We have something that is called Copilot, and it just makes suggestions on maybe you should write your code in this way. But it's up to us as humans to select. No, I know better. Or yeah, that's actually a good idea. And that's how we want to incorporate AI in Speedadmin, is that it's an assistant. It's not going to take over your task as secretaries, leaders, or teachers. It will assist you in those different tasks.
Yeah.
But there, I guess what you're saying, that's we're not there at all. We need to get to the slope of enlightenment or plateau of productivity before we can actually...
Well, we can do some things. We have already talked about that in some areas we can use this assistant, because it's based on some of the simple things that all the models are capable of doing.
I think that's a good point, but that's not only true for regenerative IA like Copilot or ChatGPT, but there's a lot of the tools that actually can be used for data mining and for big data analysis. And that's why I also kind of see that we in Speedadmin would deep dive into that, because that could be, we have huge amounts of data, and AI is a fantastic tool to really trawl through that and look for patterns.
Yeah.
Although then the theoretical guy like me says you have to be careful, because it's looking for correlations, which is not always the same as what do you call causality. So you, I mean, again, it's an assistant. You have to double check what you humanize.
Yeah.
I think I will be back to come back to how more we could use it in Speedadmin. But AI trends that you find relevant, Johan, what have you come across that you think this would be relevant for your first leaders?
Yeah, as a leader, I see 3 different perspectives of this, and it's kind of the thing you're talking about, like having an assistant in the work. So it's what will it be having an assistant for the students, what is it like to have an assistant for the teachers and for the leaders or the administrators. And I think for the students, it will be amazing to have an extra teacher. You know, you have your teacher, you meet your teacher face to face, but then you have the extra teacher on your free spare time, and you can always get some tips or tricks from this extra teacher, the assistant that can be around for like 24 hours a day for the student. So that would be amazing for their learning, I think, for the students.
And what I'm thinking with having that assistant, of course, it's somebody that can be there where you go home and practice, but also perhaps in the teaching room you could be teaching larger groups if there's a need or a request for it, because you can't go around and checking everybody if they're sitting in a let's say a piano pod with 20 pianos and everybody's sitting with their ears on and listening. You can't check it all. But if you have some kind of AI assistant or buddy there, that's also, I guess, a good perspective.
Yeah, I think so. I think also the self-paced learning is very important in this, that the students can get the information at the lesson, then also go home and work in their own time with it. You know, they can watch a video several times or whatever in their own pace. So that would be great for the students. So it's like an extra teacher on the spare time as well, I think. But as for the teachers, I think they will get some more time, because if they can use the AI tool to help them plan the lessons. What if they can, like a piano teacher can take a song from Spotify and ask an AI tool to just transcribe it in like 1 minute instead of sitting for 1-2 hours transcribing this song?
Tools that can do that today.
The tool. So what will happen with that time that the teachers will be able to put in other things? You know, they can be more with the students. I think they can spend more time with the students and less time with the planning of the lessons before. So I think that would
be more core value.
More core value, meeting face to face, and also that is the like the USP for the schools, the social time that you meet friends, you meet your teacher face to face, and all that kind of stuff will be more and more important for the schools to give to the students, and they will be able to do that if the planning of the lessons and stuff like that can take less time instead.
Yeah. So I guess there would be people that we worried, well, are we not just gonna leave everybody's gonna download an app and then they're gonna have the tuition from there? But I think humans always want to be taught by humans.
Yes.
And there's important things like empathy, creativity. Exactly. Well, those the AI don't have. No. They can copy it.
You can get feedback from an AI, but it won't be so very nice, probably.
No.
very, very strict.
Well, you can prompt them, say, you always have to be a nice teacher when giving me feedback.
Yeah, probably.
Friendly feedback.
Yeah, friendly feedback. No, so I think that's one of the biggest things for the teachers. Have more time for the students. And for the business or the school, and that's what you're talking about, Michael, the big data. How can you follow up your school and what's happening? You can collect a lot of data to see, okay, in this area we don't have so many students, we can do something about that. Or so you can run your business with the help of these reports. You can
There's a ton of different things you can do when you get into that. First of all, many of the schools have data from many years. They know everything about, ages and what they're playing and so on. But you can also take in other data, like demographic data from the area and start making different analysis. So I think that's gonna be a huge help in also making forecasts and so on forward.
And I think also as a leader in a music and art school, you have to help the teachers. They need education in this because it's so much happening so fast. So how will they be able to follow the time? There's so much things happening. So they need some education how to use these tools and how to use them in the lessons with the students.
And I think overall that's a key thing in all digitalization when using that more and more in the music and art schools, that of course there has to be a good plan from the leaders. How do we actually help educate our teachers, but also sharing the knowledge sharing from teachers to teachers, because there are so many things out there, and some of it is really crap, and some of it is really great and can be done in can be used in so many inspiring ways. So I think using that knowledge sharing from teacher to teacher is also so important, but you have to create that space as a leader.
Exactly, that's a key to this, sharing the knowledge between the colleagues. That's so important.
I thought about one thing that I got a little bit of inspired by Steve Copeland, was writing in, for example, well, I have an issue with a student, I can't really find out how do I make him play this part or be faster with something or play more in tune. And then asking ChatGPT, could you please, and with these prompts being very specific, could you give me a 10-minute warm-up exercise that my student age this and this could use every single day? And of course, they're not, it's not an educated music teacher in there, but they can actually give you a very good starting point. And then you can pick the parts and say, oh, that's nice, and that's nice, of course. And I think that with the whole planning, curriculums, doing tests, all of that is a great tool for teachers, of course, but also for the leaders.
Yeah. And then, of course, I think there will be new courses in the music and art schools. With all these apps and tools, there will be new digital courses in the future that we don't even know of today, I think. So, like music production was a new subject. Back in 10-15 years ago, we will have some new subjects the next years ahead. So we don't know what's coming in that area.
And I guess with also again with the apps, and I know it's a minefield, very controversial about creating music through AI, and we're not saying that that's something you should do, but I guess it's kind of there are some new options, and to stay relevant as a music and art school, we have to follow.
We have to follow the development. Yeah.
I thought about it as a teacher saying, well, no, I don't want AI. I don't want to use AI. Would be kind of be like a classical guitar player saying, well, no, electric guitar is crap. You can never use that. You kind of want to try it all out. Then there are things that works really well on an electric guitar, and then there's things on a classical guitar that you prefer. Great. Any other ideas? AI trends relevant for our news schools? I guess there's tons, but
yes, there is.
Yeah.
That we don't know.
It's almost your imagination. I mean, you can imagine everything. So
yeah,
it's much more about how. I think it's much more about setting time out to also explore what AI can do for you, because that's the only way you have to get your hands dirty.
And see how the students actually react to it.
There's no way you can sit back and just think about it.
No.
I mean,
that's true. Yeah. But you can ask ChatGPT and get a good conversation about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, then back to how could Speedadmin, and you also already said a little bit, both Carsten and Michael. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that? Because I would assume there would be some people out there, and already, as we said, oh, that sounds good with the data that you talk about. There'll be some secretaries say, yeah, my leader always asks me, can you please give me the data of this and that? And can I just have an assistant doing that? And then again, I can, as a secretary and admin, spend time on the core value.
I think there's two sides to it really, because there's one, what do we do as a company and internal income in the company Speedadmin. And I think already today, I can only talk for myself. I mean, I basically use AI on a daily basis. The co-pilot and the ChatGPT is always open. I ask questions, prompt different things all the time. Sometimes it comes out ridiculous questions answers and totally crap, and sometimes it's also falsy. So you have to be careful. But nevertheless, it's a huge time saver for me, because whenever there's a new subject coming up that I kind of, what the heck is this? You quickly prompt it and you get, okay, and then we're going. I mean, then you can deep dive into it. So in that respect, I think we can use it, and I think that's exactly what you do in development as well. Then there's the other aspect of how can we incorporate AI into our product. To some extent, I think some of our tools already include some AI tools because it's so incorporated in everything we do. But I could easily imagine that in the future we would see AI incorporated in our customer support to improve that. We are collecting a lot of good answers when we're doing support. Obviously, we have to collect that in a database so you can reuse it, and you can get an AI assistant to help our customers, gain the questions or gain the answers they need. So some sort of a chatbot or an AI module that you can search for all kinds of stuff. I'm pretty sure that's one of the first places where we're going to see it for sure. As I said before, we have huge amounts of data collected for the last close to 20 years. Really deep diving into that data to learn more about our business and also for our customers to learn more about their own business will be something that we're looking into.
Great.
So just a couple of areas.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, that I don't think that in the start we will base critical things in Speedadmin on AI to automate things. It's all about assisting people in what they're doing. So taking, for example, the secretaries, if let's say you need to in Speedadmin Play, you will have the catalog of what does the school provide. So let's say that somebody is signing up for one lesson. It could be nice that it could suggest, well, people that bought that also bought this, and that is, you wouldn't call that AI, but that's machine learning, where it looks at what is the pattern that we see in the system, and that's some. So in that, you can do that in two ways. You can do it manually, saying, okay, if somebody selected that, I would like to present these courses. If somebody selected that, then I would like to present these courses. That's a huge administrative task. But it's very easy for machine learning or AIs to just look at the pattern and saying, well, if you bought that, looking at what everybody else bought, then this is probably what you were looking for. It could be text generation. So if a teacher wants to write something in an assessment or a note, and that he or she uses a lot of times, then it could suggest, I've maybe written this for 2 students, and then the teacher's going into the third one and start typing. It could come up with a suggestion. Is this actually what you want to add? And then the teachers save time. That could also be when the secretaries are sending messages to students or parents. It could also come up with suggestions on, hey, it looks like you're probably telling them what they're going to pay, and then coming with a suggestion. But it's always the human that makes the decision on, am I going to take the suggestion or not? It could also be that let's just like sanity check of discounts and payments. So let AI check all the students in the database that's going to get invoiced. Is there some anomalies here? Is there somebody that's not paying something, or where they should be paying, or is they paying more? And it's again up to the human to decide, yes, this is okay, this is okay. Hey, oh no, hey, wait, what's wrong with this one? And that's where AI can see patterns in a quick way, and that's where we can really use it. So it's a time saver. Yeah. It's not mature enough to take over specific tasks. Just not yet, but
I guess
it's a saver.
Yeah. And I guess in many ways, I see the music and art schools all deliver a very, very unique product of a very, very high level. And it's difficult, because if you were all just selling underwear, it'd be easier to incorporate AI in both sales and marketing in different ways. But there need to be so much security and also, not least, data security around all of this, that, there are still so many challenges, but also there's going to be so many possibilities. So it's really interesting. And I really like, of course, as a sales and marketing person, the thing that you also mentioned about actually because there already now are a lot of tools that you can use out there, and as a music and art school, you're also a business that need to sell or get students and parents into the shop, so to say. And I think there are also tons of great possibilities in the future. And support, something we can use for support.
I'm sure that's going to be a big area, because I mean, you know it from yourself. I mean, in practice, when you're sitting behind your computer, you want quick and fast answers, and in many ways, you know, searching for, asking the question, I got a problem with this and this and this, and it comes up with the answer. And then sometimes it's not good enough, and then you have to call. But in most cases, I think that, you know, you want the fast answers, and the AI components can give it.
And I guess there, well, again, I said humans like to be taught by humans, but I guess humans also like to talk to humans. At least that's what I feel sometimes when I end up in a chatbot. And it's finding that sweet spot.
That's true. It's finding exactly. It's not either or.
No.
So
it can do so much, and then
yeah,
a human,
exactly. We should see it as a tool, not a replacement for the human. We should see it as a way of making things more smooth, and you know, we get quickly to the answers and stuff, but not as a replacement for the humans, not at all.
Yeah. And just a simple example, I often see or hear how our supporters have a call about something, and that could be answered very specifically. Yes, you have to tick that box, and then it's done. But often they, of course, elaborate on to, well, why do you actually do this? Why do you not? And actually find a much better solution. And of course, that would be almost impossible for, at least where we are now, for an AI to do that. Great. Any other good input or ideas? Otherwise, I will move on. Because all our great guests, any advice on how to get started with this? I think a lot of you are probably already there, but perhaps some are listening that haven't really gotten started, or what have you experienced as being?
Just get out, just get dirty. In a sense, I mean, start using it. I mean, that's my basic advice. Yeah. Start using it and be positively critical and curious, because you learn a lot, and it can help so many different things. But then again, don't expect it to be, you know, the end of the world or something that's going to change everything totally. It's just a new powerful tool.
I guess there are a lot of challenges here, and we don't want to dive too much into this webinar, into these things. But I could imagine it's something that's nice to have, again, as a leader, have a discussion with teachers, or even look into creating an AI policy, at least start working on an AI policy to lift some of these things, because there are some huge problems still, of course, and be careful. And I think somebody said as well as a conference we're at, if it's to parents, perhaps you could start using it somewhat. Anything that has to do with students, don't go there yet. It's way too early.
Be careful. When it's children involved.
Yeah, we have to be very. I just think as a very easy thing. Now we're talking about apps, and we're not experts on the apps, but we have, of course, some ideas in our new study plan or the learning management platform that there could be access to some apps where it's kind of been ticked off. Yes, this is good apps. They work well, and often that so the students and parents don't have to share their personal details to get access to these apps, but we could actually give them access with the Speedadmin login. So that's again both security and still opening up for a world of possibilities. Just came up with that.
But with the previous slide that you just had, getting started, I think there's a lot of buzzwords going around machine learning, AI, and prompts and it's like I could imagine that some people are a little, okay, this is too advanced for me. But have a look at, go to. We're not going to advertise which AI you're going to use, but just search for an AI, and because many times it's just an input field where you write your question. You can write probably in whatever language that you're talking, and then start from there and move on. It's it's sometimes a little scary actually when you ask them ask the AI of something where you think, well, if I asked a human being this, they would ask, I don't understand what you're saying. And that's maybe the problem of today's AIs. It will never say that. It will never say, I do not understand, and it will never say, I don't know.
I'd rather lie.
Well, it doesn't know how to lie. It only knows what is the probability of generating the next sentence, and that's what it does. So, and that's as you're saying, sometimes it just gibberish. It has no idea. So, but that comes back to write your question in a good way, and it will probably come with a good answer. So it's a stepping stone. It will help you in many aspects.
But I think just be careful with the facts. Searching for facts, because it's gonna make things up, as you say.
It will.
But use a text that you already have. That is quality proofed because it's your text or something, and ask it to do something with this text to make it smaller or make some bullet points and stuff like that. That's excellent, because then it will use the information in computer.
Exactly.
But point is that very often you do want to get some facts, and as you say, be careful, because you never know where it gets its data from, and particularly when you search on facts, it doesn't test whether these facts is correct, and sometimes it then gives you absolute crappy answers, and direct faulty answers.
And many of the current models, they are only trained up to a certain point in time. So if you would ask it something that is happening right now, it wouldn't know. But many times it will just, if you're asking what's the situation in Gaza and what's the situation there, it will. I think right now it will probably tell you, I don't know right now, because it's also being trained on that it shouldn't know that. So they are always, of course, improving these models and on current data. But from a development point of view, where it's going so fast, where the interfaces to these AIs are updating constantly, you can't ask the AI, please write some code here, because it doesn't know what's the state right now. So it's always a little behind on those like current events and current updates on what's happening right now.
It's fun. One of the pictures I tried to, or have used in the slide here, I was trying to ask it, could you add in here the different steps for the digital journey, also a little bit how COVID was a driver. And as soon as I put in COVID, it wouldn't generate anything. It said, no, that's against policy. And it didn't say that it was the COVID, it just said there's something against the policy. Then I removed COVID, and then it was back on track. So there are things that it just won't touch on.
So of course they are putting in things that, like keywords, saying, oh, if the human asks you this, then you say, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And other good thoughts? Get your hands dirty, get into it.
Just try with some easy stuff. Just ask the AI to make a food plan for you next week or something very easy, and you will get some help or assistance. Just try it out.
And never forget critical common sense.
No. So that assistant buddy that you always need to check a little bit on. And then of course I also think it is quite inspiring. And then finally, it's also just a gimmick. It's a way to make a little bit of fun. It also could be in the teaching room actually. Also now we talked a lot about music. We do that often, but there are other arts things where AI is very far. Also with movies, pictures, all of that. And it can be quite inspiring to play around with it. It's something that, and again, I said AI can't be creative, but it can still start our creativity. Great. So from our side, what's next? Well, first of all, if you have any questions, feel free to write in the chat. And otherwise, we can say that in the autumn, we will try to get some of these proper experts in some webinars and dive into some different topics. On both the pros and cons for AI, because we want to stay on top and know what's going on. So this is a good way for us as well, and we'll do our best to spread the word of all the good things we hear out there. Anything we forgot? Anything you want to add?
I think something worth mentioning is that we are right across the the water here, we have a university
Oh yeah.
with some professors and a lot of software engineer students, and we are collaborating with them to also have some student jobs, but also to have some projects where the students in their study, where we can work together with them.
Yeah.
And there we have already like 3 different areas where we would like them to come with input on, both from the students but also from the professors. So we're really trying to hold on to the AI train, because it's the speedy one.
And don't forget, it's all part of that digital journey, and all the steps in that digital journey is important. And there, if you have any question or doubt, reach out. Perhaps we can help you guide a little bit in that road as a music and art school. I think we're there. If there were no questions, so I'm just going to say thank you all for watching, and not least thank you all here for participating and sharing your thoughts. It's very nice to have some food for thoughts about AI.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye then.
Bye bye.